What's up, YouTube fam? Welcome to Life with Sarge. If you are new here, my name is Sarah, aka Sarge. This channel we talk about everything with regards to my life and stuff like that, and this channel is basically here to help others that have gone through stuff that I've gone through. So I touch on subjects like anxiety, depression, stress, seizures. My last video was on self-care management and how to look after your body with regards to all of that stuff. And today's focus is purely going to be on anxiety, but regarding children. Now, I taught at a school for 11 years, and yes, you get really shy children, and just because they're shy and they show some aspects of anxiety doesn't make them like an anxious child. So basically, if you're a teacher, you just got to keep an eye on certain things, like the behavioral patterns and stuff like that, and then obviously you as the parent. For instance, if you're doing ring time, I'm talking about like lower ages, like if you're doing ring time and you're asking children questions and you're going around in a circle, and obviously this child is shy and kind of refuses to answer the question, don't pressure them because they're already feeling anxious, and if you pressure them onto answering that question, it's just going to make it worse, which is going to make the anxiety peak, and it's just going to make them like have low self-esteem and stuff like that, and also cause like them feeling anxious to come to school and stuff like that. So obviously you want to make the space at school a positive environment, and so obviously you want to include them in the conversation, in the theme, in the topic, but you don't want to almost make them feel like, I don't want to go to school because I get anxious there. School's meant to be like another safe haven. So for me, where I kind of realized I've always been a shy child. I kind of played with my certain groups of friends and stuff. I don't remember answering questions as a little lighty, as a little young child. My first friend I ever made, she came up to me and initiated it, and we're still best friends. So Shannon's hi. If you're watching, I appreciate you, love you. Thanks for walking up to me while I was in that dress up corner playing by myself, because that was just the kind of child I was. But one incident that has stood out and has just kind of shaped me was I had to do an oral in grade 5, and bearing in mind English is my first language and Afrikaans is my second language, and I hated doing orals. I mean, majority of children hate doing orals. So when I had to do an oral in Afrikaans and this teacher was like, no, you have to start from the beginning, ever since that incident, because first of all, Afrikaans isn't my like number one language. And when I would say orals in English, I would speed read, not make eye contact. Clearly the teacher can see, like, she's not enjoying her time up in front of the class. Like, let her just go through her oral, and then give her the best mark that you could give her for trying at least. But he wasn't persistent on making me say it again and correctly, and I can't roll my R's and all of that stuff. So that was just horrific time, and ever since then I've kind of refused to do orals. I had a very kind teacher in high school. I was kind of with her for I think 2 years, and she would let me do the orals just in front of her so that I could get the marks, because she knew I was shy. But yeah, if there's one thing I can't stress enough, is don't force somebody to do something they don't want to do. Give them 0 if they're willing to get that 0. Like, say, listen, if you don't do it, you're going to get a 0. And like myself, I just decided to get a 0. Otherwise, they are going to get those anxiety symptoms, which I'm going to go through. I did make a list. So what are a few signs that you as a teacher or an adult can look for? As a parent, they're going to have trouble sleeping. They are going to wake up screaming with terror from a nightmare. They could even possibly wet the bed. So there's a few signs of like nighttime aspect for an anxious child. Then this is another big thing, complaining about headaches and stomach aches. I mean, a headache is not really common for a child to get. unless they're under like a lot of stress, which, I mean, they're children, what are they worried about? They've got like no finances to worry about and stuff like that. So a headache, I mean, unless they've been playing in the sun a lot and it's like almost like a heat headache type thing, or they have bad vision, that could be another aspect. So obviously that's kind of where you need to kind of like look at it and be like, okay, could it be this, could it be this? If you've cancelled out like them playing in the sun too long, or they haven't drank enough water, or they have bad vision, then you can kind of be like, okay, we need to keep an eye on that. Also stomach aches, I dealt with that, and like it's almost like this knot in your stomach, and it didn't matter what I was doing. Like, I still get it now, social anxiety, I have that knot in my stomach. But the tip is to push yourself through your fears. So I'm going to touch on that a little bit, but I'm still going to be focusing on some of the symptoms that you can look for in a child. Them not eating properly. So even if it's like their favorite meal, if they don't want to touch it, that's kind of when like you'd be like, okay, what is up? Are they feeling sick? Is there something going on? Be wary of that. If they very like tense and fidgety, I would notice a lot of that in class. And sometimes it's like, okay, they're just bored. But if it's like something they're usually interested in, and there's something going, like there's obviously something that's causing them to feel like to behave in that sense, if that makes sense. Going to the toilet a lot. This could just be an excuse to get out of the environment where they don't feel safe. And this is almost kind of where, like, for me, I would think of it as like, I'm having a panic attack and I want to escape that environment. But then also it could be the fact that they just, I don't exactly know why this symptom is caused. But yeah, I just know that going to the toilet a lot is another symptom that you need to look out for. But it does kind of make sense in the fact that if they are in an environment where they don't feel safe, they kind of want to escape. They'll be like, hi, sorry ma'am, can I please go to the toilet? Or sorry teacher Sarah, can I please go to the toilet? And you're like, but you've gone 3 times since we've been in ring time. Obviously they feel uncomfortable, and you need to kind of just mark that down and keep track of that. Seeming irritable or have unusual behavioral patterns. Once again, if a child is normally very happy, and then all of a sudden they come to school and they just seem irritable, mark that down in your diary. I do know most teachers kind of have like a diary for behavioral issues for children, and they won't necessarily bring it up to the parents unless it becomes like a consecutive behavioral thing and the teachers are kind of worried. And then also for parents that are going through stuff at home, say divorce, or like there's a lot of change happening in the home environment, they must really let the teacher know that the child is going through a change at home, so that they can give the child almost like extra love, if that makes sense. And then if your child is constantly worrying and they are expressing it, I mean, the fact that they're expressing it to you is great, because not many children do. But if you can see your child is worrying about stuff, please sit down and have a conversation with him. It will do wonders. So yeah, those are a few of the signs that you can look out for. And a few things that you can do as a parent and a teacher or just a guardian. Children are children. They're going to make mistakes. They're going to make messes. They are going to do and say things that aren't the kindest. Instead of you yelling at them and reprimanding them in a harsh tone, rather sit down with them and explain the behavior and like what they did. Explain to them why they shouldn't behave like that. Like if they were being rude, like say, listen, this is going to make the person's heart sad. Look, Johnny's crying. You obviously want to be a kind person, and so you want to make Johnny's heart happy. So sit down with them, have a conversation, discussion, instead of yelling at them, is going to do wonders. Also, if you guys, the parents are fighting, don't do it in front of the children. You are their role models. You are what they look up to, and if they see their parents shouting at each other, it does damage to them, because first of all, they're going to think, oh, it's okay to shout at like somebody else. Like if my parents do it, I'm allowed to do it, type of thing. And you are literally the role model for them. So you need whatever they see you doing, they want to copy you. You are their mentor, you are their guardian. Like, they want to be like, I want to be like mommy, I want to be like daddy, so I'm going to shout, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. If you are having an argument with your spouse, keep it, I don't know, maybe like once your child has gone to bed and you in the bedroom have a like civil conversation where you kind of lower your tone of voice so that your children don't hear you fight, because first of all, hearing your parents fight is the worst, and it also sets a really bad example. If they are behaving badly and it has come to a point where you have spoken to them in like a calming tone, and you've spoken to them in a calming tone and they still aren't listening, kind of ask them why they're acting out, because you'll find out there's a reason behind it, and then you can kind of go from there. Okay, this is a good tip. So you need to make a habit of focusing on your child's positive behaviors. So if they have done something kind, reward them with like a sticker or a treat. If they have done something where say they're normally hitters but they chose to use their words instead, and you found that out from a teacher, reward them, praise them, give them so much praise. Stickers, if you're not a fan of sweets, stickers, or like an outing to their favorite place, or spend like 30 minutes playing, like building a puzzle or playing Lego or playing Barbies with your child. Like literally reward them and spend time with them for their positive behavior, because if they can see, okay, oh, I'm behaving in this manner, and I'm getting rewarded for it, maybe I can continue to do it. Then next, be the role model for your child. I have mentioned this before. An example could, for me, that I would use. So I've learned I'm afraid of heights. So we were at this hidden beach thingy, and there was like this really steep set of staircases, and my body was literally like trembling as I was walking down. But if your child can see that you're afraid and you're still willing to walk down those stairs, you are facing your fears, it's just another good example for them to see, okay, mommy, daddy, teacher was scared to go down those stairs, but she did it anyway. And I did it anyway, and I was shaking when I reached the bottom, but I felt like, okay, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. So yeah, setting that good example is a must. If your child faces a fear or handles a difficult situation, reward them once again with stickers, their favorite games to play, not necessarily the board game or whatever, but just play the board game with them, if you know what I mean. Like, don't necessarily buy them a new toy or a new doll every single time. Small little rewards will definitely get them to want to face their fears. And then staying calm. A lot of children, if they fall off a jungle gym or the swing or the monkey bars, and they turn to the parents, and the parents are like, oh my gosh, are you okay? Immediately the child starts crying. What my dad did, which is genius, is we would fall and we would look at him and he'd be like, oh, well done, Sarah, good fall. And we'd get up and like continue. Meanwhile, there's like, we've got a scrape on our leg and blood is coming out and stuff like that. But he wouldn't make a big deal out of it. And so you kind of remaining calm will keep the child calm and be like, okay, it's fine if I fall and graze my knee. I'm just going to clean it up and then I can go back and go play, because it's a safe place for me to play. Obviously, if a child has fallen off the slide and broken their collarbone and they are screaming in pain, I mean, you still need to remain calm, but obviously you're going to take a different approach. You're not going to go, oh, well done, good fall, good fall. Like, you can kind of suss out the situation and where the child is at. But if you know it's minimal, remain calm. Set a routine for your child's bedtime. What we did in class, which you can kind of do for bedtime, is they would know that they have 30 minutes of playtime, and we would always let them know, okay, guys, you've got 20 minutes left, you've got 10 minutes left, you've got 5 minutes left, and kind of giving them a heads up so that when it is time to pack away, they don't freak out and be like, no. Same thing with bedtime. Be like, okay, you've got 30 minutes to do whatever you want to do. If that's what reading, if you want me to read you a story before bedtime, if you want to play with your dolls before bedtime, like whatever they want to do, let them do it for those 30 minutes and almost set a timer. I'm not too sure if you get like those color 30-minute timers or whatever, but I mean, you could still do it, like let them know that they have 30 minutes and set a time on your phone, and when they hear the timer go off, then they go, okay, it's time for bed type of thing. But yeah, definitely set a routine, because routine does help with just anxiety in general. And then lastly, and most importantly, encourage your child to talk about what gives them anxiety, what they're scared of, because then you can come to a conclusion and you can problem solve together. You can be like, okay, well, will this work? Will this work? Why are you afraid to go to school? And then if they say because da 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 da, then you can be like, okay, also bring it to the school's attention so that the teachers are aware, because obviously communication is key, and you'll be able to kind of help and guide your child. And then also your child knows, okay, if I'm feeling this way, I can always come to mom and dad and they will help me with regarding to what I'm feeling anxious about. Because thankfully we are in a time where it's kind of spoken about, but people don't necessarily think that children suffer with anxiety, whereas I believe that children do. People just don't know what to kind of look for. And so that is it for me today. I hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope that I helped out a few children that are suffering with anxiety. I hope that some teachers learned a few things. I hope that parents learned a few things. Once again, be kind, you are loved, and don't be so hard on yourself. Bye.